Mad Max Fury Road is the new movie where Max drives down a street full of people who like to dress as animals and bang.
No, that's Furry Road.
Then what the fuck is Fury Road? Mad Max Fury Road is the long-awaited, long-in-development fourth film in the Mad Max franchise. George Miller, the director of the first two Mad Max films and co-director of the third one, returns to direct Fury Road, which really does show. It fits right in with the original three Mad Max films, especially the first two. The action and stunt work in Fury Road is the best of the four Mad Max films, which is really saying something. Road Warrior had one of the best all-time car chases at the end of the film. This beats it, hands down. There's all varieties of cars, truck, motorcycles, some porcupine-looking fucking thing. People are jumping from one to the other. They're using like poles to vault from one to the other as well. Most of the special effects are done practically, which is kind of unheard of in 2015, but is really fucking refreshing. Mad Max Fury Road takes place in an unspecified time in the Mad Max franchise. There have been interviews where George Miller has said different times. There was at least one where he said it takes place somewhere in between The Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome. But then there's another interview where he said it took place after all of the original Mad Max films. If the comics are to be believed, and I believe they're canon now, so I think this is the final word, this film takes place after Thunderdome. The film opens with a narration similar to The Road Warrior, but this time it's Max. Max has long hair and a long beard, and is kind of in a similar place to where he was at the beginning of The Road Warrior. He's just trying to keep to himself, not get involved in things, and just survive. Max gets caught by some of Immortan Joe's war boys and essentially becomes a living blood bank. Furiosa goes AWOL and a car chase ensues. One of the war boys, played by Nicholas Hoult, needed blood but still wasn't going to sit around and not pursue Furiosa, so he hooks Max up to the car and takes off anyway. And that's pretty much the film. The rest of the film is pretty much one big long car chase, which is definitely not a negative. It's really awesome, actually. There's slow points to it, so it's not like there's action happening at every moment, but pretty close. Nux is one of the high points of the movie, actually, because for once you're seeing a different side to the crazy characters in the Mad Max films. The movies were always pretty much presented through Max's perspective. This time, though, Nux gives you an idea of what the bad guys might be like. They're not just 2D characters. Nux's character goes through an arc. He has a romance, which normally in these movies ends up being shoehorned in and is stupid. It doesn't fit. It's just something for fucking teens out there. It's not like that at all. It's a very kind of low-key romance thing going on with Nux, and his character is one of the better characters in the movie. Immortan Joe is played by Hugh Keays-Byrne, who played Toe Cutter in the original film. He's playing a completely different character in this one. He's very menacing. He's got like long white hair. He has this gas mask that's kind of just like a crazy mouth skull looking thing. He has a really cool kind of deep voice too. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa, the standout character of the film. She kicks all sorts of ass in this movie while driving, fighting hand to hand, and shooting. There's actually one scene where Max tries to shoot somebody, he can't quite do it. Furiosa takes the gun from him, steadies it on his shoulder, and shoots, which is just fucking awesome. I haven't mentioned Tom Hardy as Max, and that's because I think that's probably the weak point of the entire movie. He's not terrible, he just doesn't really have much charisma in it. He doesn't really say much, which doesn't have to be a negative. Mel Gibson didn't say much in The Road Warrior, but he just doesn't have the charisma. He grunts most of his lines, kind of barks him like almost like Christian Bale's Batman. Again, he's not terrible. It's kind of a different Max that we've seen, and that might be intentional. It might just be trying to show that Max has really gone through so much more, and he's just in a completely different place than we've seen him before. The only other complaint I really have about the movie is that it's essentially a retread of The Road Warrior, at least from Max's perspective. It's almost like somebody just said, let's take Max's story arc and the end car chase from The Road Warrior and just make a movie out of that. One awesome character I haven't mentioned is the Doof Warrior. This is a guy that's attached to what is essentially big speakers on wheels, playing an electric guitar with fucking flames spouting out. So again, Mad Max Fury Road has great action, mostly practical special effects, some great characters, Immortan Joe, Nux, and especially Furiosa, and is just a great action movie. The only downsides are I'm not really a big fan of Tom Hardy's portrayal of Max, and The story is essentially a retread of The Road Warrior. Mad Max Fury Road is rated A+. So after seeing this movie the first time, I didn't think there was any way I was going to be able to rate it higher than The Road Warrior. I watched it 2.5 more times once I fell asleep, but it was at the drive-in and it was second showing. Don't fucking blame me, please. So anyway, I watched it again, and I can't knock it down that much. For me, not particularly liking Hardy and the retread part of it. The Road Warrior came out in '82, and it's not a complete remake to it. It takes a lot of the same story elements, at least from Max's perspective, and it's too awesome to really knock down that much. So A+ it is, right? So given that Fury Road is a sequel to a series that hasn't had a new film in 30 years, and the original director George Miller returned, what movie would you like to see have a sequel that hasn't had one in at least 10 years? Or what series would you like to see the original director come back to? For me, it would be another Escape from New York movie. The first Escape from New York is a classic. The second one is a bit of a misstep. I didn't like it very much, Escape from LA. I didn't think it was particularly good. There are things to like about it. But I think that you should just complete the trilogy, do Escape from Earth like they've been talking about, and end on a strong note. So again, name a franchise you would like to see a sequel to, and or like the original director to come back to. Make your mark below in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. You know what this movie could have used more of? Master Blaster. But again, what movie couldn't? One thing that doesn't make sense to me in this Mad Max movie, or any of them really, is that gasoline or guzzling is on short supply, but they always use really fuel-inefficient vehicles and do long chases and shit. But gas is supposed to be in short supply, so why are they wasting so much all the time? The Doof Warrior's fucking shooting flames out. In the Road Warrior, they were using a flamethrower to defend their gas. Like, yeah, we're gonna keep our fucking fuel. Let's waste it. Making sure you don't get in here and take it. Fucking, what the hell? You know, Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. Imperator Furiosa. Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator. 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 Plays Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. Imperator. Pronounce Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. Charlize Theron plays Imperator Furiosa. This beer is Samuel Adams Pumpkin Batch. It's terrible. I generally like pumpkin beers, like pumpkin pie, liquid form. Delicious. I don't know what the fuck happened here. It's like they took the jack-o'-lantern I threw away a week ago and just dunked it in some Miller High Life. The fuck?